What's good? It's your big homie, E.D.I.Mean, a.k.a. EDIDON. You listening to the AM Caffeine Morning Show. Wake that ass up, man. It's time to get to work. Do something.
Get your morning started the right way with the AM Caffeine Morning Show.
So today, man, we got a real special guest. And this is what's so dope about my man Edie that's in the building right here. Oh, thank you. Give it to him.
Yeah.
My man E.D.I. from the Outlaws. Now, you know, when you come to the game, it's really good to get some type of cosign from an artist that is popular, or if you get with that right record label that knows how to market and promote and do all that thing, you know, all the things that it takes for you to get to a certain level. But to be able to get an endorsement from an artist that, you know, anytime you're talking about some of the greatest rappers to have ever done it, man, Tupac's name comes up all the time, dude. I mean,
No doubt.
so to be able to come into the game with an endorsement, a cosign, be able to rock with Tupac, I mean, hey, come on, dude. And that's what the Outlaws did, man. Edie is in the building today. Edie, thanks for rocking with us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Edie has a brand new project that just released.
I sure do.
So what we're going to do today, AM Caffeine Morning Show crew, is we're going to play some joints from Edie's project.
Exclusive.
We're going to just talk about, and I know that, you know, you've done this a million times, Edie, and I know that you always get questions just about the relationship with Tupac, but
I've done it a million times, but this is the beginning of me doing it alone.
Got
There's usually
you.
3 or 4 more niggas with me.
right.
And but you know, solo.
Right. So we're going to talk about that, you know, going solo as
Absolutely.
well. So Edie is rocking with us today, AM Caffeine Morning Show. So Ron C, here's what I want to do real quick, Smooth D.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the mix. We're going to play this brand new joint from DJ Charisma. Charisma, shout out, even though you haven't texted me back in your mouth. I got something for you. But I'm going to let her live, though. I'm going to let her live. I mean, if you know about DJ Charisma and how hard this young lady puts it down. 2 of the females that I know who go hard. Nobody goes harder than DJ Charisma and Gigi Sweet on the West Coast.
No doubt.
Nobody does it harder than that. Oh, wait, that's what she said. So, we're going to play this new joint from Charisma featuring Desloaf and Chris Brown. We're going to get a little bit into the mix, and we're going to come back. We're just going to rock with Edie for the rest of this hour. It's the AM Caffeine Morning Show.
Let it go.
Let it go, Ron C, Smooth D. AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building. You guys don't go nowhere. Great information coming up. Brand new music from Edie. Let it go. Special guest today, man. My man Edie. So Edie, are you still going by E.D.I.Mean? What's the title these days?
I mean, my fans that grew with me from the 90s, they still call me E.D.I.Mean. But the new fans, the kids that done caught up with me on YouTube and, you know, seen the old videos,
Right.
they know me as EDIDON.
EDIDON.
Yeah.
Okay. There it is then. So OG's EDI.Mean, new cats, EDIDON.
Man, call me what you want. Just don't call me broke.
Right. No question. That's right. You ain't never lied about
that's
that.
where I'm at with it right now. Feel me? The album is the Hope Deal. It's everywhere right now.
So before we get into the new album that you just released, and you got a new single and some artists rocking with you, just so I can get a clear understanding, and I know there's some folks out there that rock with the AM Caffeine Morning Show want to know as well. Edie, when is the first time that the actual name, the Outlaws, like how did that come about? Because I know there was a name before the Outlaws, correct?
Yeah, we had a few names. We had a few names before we came together as the Outlaw Immortals. And basically, the way it went down was while Pac was incarcerated, Dannemora, New York, Clinton Correctional Facility, he was just plotting and planning on how he was going to make his return. And he was like, you would call it today rebranding.
Right.
He said, I'm going to rebrand myself and my crew. and this is how we gonna do it. So we sat down and he was reading a lot, and he was like, man, what we about to do is gonna be immortal. It's gonna live forever. So we gonna be the Outlaw Immortals, and that stemmed from the last song on Me Against the World, a record called Outlaw, which featured myself, Castro, Napoleon, and the late great Gaddafi.
Right.
You know what I mean? So from there, we took that record, and it just inspired the whole outlaw movement. We went from Outlaw Immortals, and then we just broke it down to the Outlaws.
So before you even became the Outlaws, the Outlaw Immortals, what was the relationship with Pac? Were you guys just kind of like a crew? You guys were just homies, or you had always planned to do music together? Were you doing music separately? Like, what was the relationship like with Pac before it really became what it was as we know it as the Outlaw Immortals?
No doubt. Me, Castro, Gaddafi, and Tupac grew up together.
Okay.
Our parents are close friends from before all of us were even born.
Wow.
So we talking about 40 plus years.
Right.
Our family has been connected, intertwined in a lot of different ways. But that is the core of the movement right there. Gaddafi grew up in New Jersey with Napoleon, Young Noble, Hussein Fatal, rest in peace. And he brought those members to the group because Pac was like, yo, I want to put together a super group.
Okay.
And I'm going to be a full-fledged member of this group, but we're going to have different MCs from all over the country. You know what I mean? Because I grew up different places. Castro grew up different places. Pac grew up different places. Then we had that East Coast element too. So he wanted to put this all together, a group that can appeal to all markets of the United States.
Right.
East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, everywhere. And that's how it basically came together. So Gaddafi recruited the Jersey crew. We kept the core and we just put it together. Along with a couple of members from Thug Life, his group prior to us, the big homies.
So Tupac, when he's released, and when the whole death row thing starts to happen, like upon his release, what did you guys have a relationship with death row, or where it was just strictly kind of just dealt with Pac and then he dealt with?
I mean, our relationship grew as we spent time there. Over those 8, 9, 10 months. 8 months. He was alive, and then prior to a couple of years, we stayed on death row, and eventually had to fight for our release to get off the label. So our relationship grew over time, but for the most part, we was the little homies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We was young dudes, and we was just cats just waiting to get on the mic and get a chance to rap and do what we love to do. You know what I mean? So our relationship was with Pac. Pac was our manager, our CEO,
everything.
He was all of that. So our relationship was over there, and Pac basically kept a self-contained unit for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, we had our own circle amongst that big circle.
Right.
Just like the Pound did. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And other different cliques involved in death row.
Right. What was the first release that the Outlaws did with Pac? What was the first song that you guys had?
Our first official release is Hit 'Em Up.
Okay.
That was our introduction.
That was your introduction, was Hit 'Em Up?
Yeah.
So, wow, what a way to come into the game. All right, so Edie, tell me, how does Pac bring the idea of Hit 'Em Up to you? Like, how does that, the first time you heard about Hit 'Em Up, how did that work?
I mean, we talked about it and conceptualized it, the title, even the beat, while he was in prison. And so when he got out of prison, it was just about going to the studio and doing it.
So while he was in prison, okay, it's so much just about that situation. Were you rocking with it because it was Tupac and we're riding with him, or were you guys really understanding like the beef, and were you just taking sides just because it was Pac, or were you taking sides just because you really understood what was going on and really felt like what he was doing was right, or were you just riding like, yo, that's Pac and we riding anyway?
Both. I understood where he was coming from. I understood his anger somewhat. I might not have expressed it the same way.
Right.
But I'm not Tupac and he's not me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we differ in the way he displayed it. But like any homie or any friend or any family member, cousin or whatever, I had blind allegiance. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter.
Right.
At that time, it didn't matter.
That's what I really wanted to know.
Point to him and it's going
It's
down.
going down.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of Biggie?
Absolutely. His first album, Ready to Die, was was one of my favorite albums. And actually, we was real cool with Big. You know, like when Big came to Atlanta to do that record he did with the Brat and JD.
Right.
We brought Big weed because Big couldn't get no real good weed in Atlanta. Atlanta at that time, it was all brown everywhere.
Right.
We was one of the few people
that had the
wait. You know what I'm saying? Because it was coming in FedEx packages to the crib. You feel me? So Big called us up like, yo, I don't got nothing.
What?
You know what I mean? And we took a trip down there to bring that. You know what I mean? And we rocked with him like that. That's why.
So how hard was it for you when you released that, knowing like, yo, I actually like, me and Big are cool? Or was it was more like, yo, I gotta ride with Pac no matter what it is?
I mean, that's my family. I'm riding with him, period. And also, I'm a fan of hip hop. And I started as a battle rapper. So that was in my lane.
Right. You're like, yeah, let's go.
I was learning how to, talk about my life and talk about struggle and talk about the streets.
Trying to make songs, but you knew how to battle.
But battling,
right?
Let's do it. And that's what that was to me. That
Absolutely.
Was battling,
Absolutely.
What I mean?
After you released Hit 'Em Up, did you ever see Biggie again? Did you ever speak to him after?
I never saw Biggie again. Never.
Damn. So when Hit 'Em Up comes up, man, because let me tell you, I'm a huge Biggie fan. But I can remember when Hit 'Em Up came up, I was banging the hell out of that. Like, you just couldn't help it. But when I would listen to it and I would recite the lyrics and all that, I was like, but yo, I like Biggie though. So I can't imagine being an artist involved in it and like you said, knowing how classic Ready to Die, Ready to Die was.
No doubt. Biggie was the big dude's champion, man. And I was a big dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so he repped for all the big dudes that had charisma, that still was fly and that was still able to pull girls. You know what I mean? So that's why I identified with Big because I was always a big dude, but I never had no problem getting a lady. You know what I'm saying? So I identified with him, and he was from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Pac ain't from Brooklyn. He from Harlem. But Pac was born in Brooklyn, but he from Harlem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I identify with Big in more ways than one. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I said, not only was Pac feeding me, this was like my family, like not like a homie or somebody I rapped for, and he was like, "Okay, you dope, you can ride with us."
You're like, no, this is like bloodline, like we going
had
in.
This dream from day one,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So it was no question. It wasn't even a second thought when it went down, when it was going down.
So once it's released and it spreads and everybody is now taking sides and all that stuff. How did it affect you guys? I mean, obviously it helped put you guys out there as a group. Did you get a lot of support? Was it a lot of folks that was hating on you guys? Like, what was the reaction towards the Outlaws once Hit 'Em Up was released?
You know what, Doc? That's a good question because I was chopping it up with somebody a few days ago, and they was asking me, like, how did it feel when that record dropped, and trying to get me to describe how we felt at the time, and everything was moving so fast. I'll be honest with you, it's all a blur. I don't even remember. Like, it's hard for me to even remember the first time I heard it on the radio, because remember when Hit 'Em Up dropped, they played it for like 2 or 3 days, and then it was banned from every radio station in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think the FCC called and was like, "Don't
shut that down.
Play that record again." So we didn't get a lot of radio love at first, but I just remember family members calling me like, "Yo, they playing it again." And then I hang up the phone, and 10 minutes later, like, "Yo, they playing it again." Then we hang up the phone, and an hour later, they're like, "Yo, they just played it 2 more times." So I remember it was the streets was going crazy. I do remember that. But other than that, it's really all a blur. Cause we was just moving. It was like, all right, Hit 'Em Up is out. Let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? We was doing 3 and 4 songs a day.
Right.
So Hit 'Em Up was just one of the songs we was doing.
Right. So when So at that point, were you guys signed to?
No.
You weren't signed. You didn't. There was no
signed
record.
to nobody. We could have got on some Hollywood shit and said, you know what, Pac? Fuck that. We're gonna get our own deal. Holla at us, nigga. We gonna do Hit 'Em Up Part 2. You know what I mean? Like,
So
we was unsigned.
When did you guys actually get signed?
We didn't actually sign a record deal until I think 1998.
Really? So that whole time you just rocking with Pac, you guys are doing shows, but you guys are not signed.
Yeah. And we're not doing a lot of shows either because Pac couldn't get a lot of shows booked because he was an insurance
risk. Absolutely.
So
Remember those days?
Yes.
Nobody would insure any of his shows.
How were y'all eating it?
I mean, rapping. Like my main objective was to be the best rapper I could be at that time and to get better at my craft because I wanted to not make Pac look like a fool for fucking with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make him look good in the aspect of, yo, he signed some niggas that's raw.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody in his crew can spit. You know what I mean? So that was my main objective at the time. I wasn't even really thinking about money because money wasn't really a factor for me at that time in my life. I didn't have no bills and no responsibility. I had just had a son maybe 2 months prior to when Hit 'Em Up came out, my first son.
Right.
So I didn't have any real responsibilities.
Right. So
You know
you
what
was
I mean?
just going.
And prior to that, I was on the block.
Right.
And Pac was like, yo, y'all not doing that. You know
So
what I
he
mean?
came and said that shutting all that down.
Yeah, I mean, he did the best he could. A couple of us couldn't leave the block alone.
Right.
But you know what I mean? For the most part, he was like, yo, either you do this or you go back to the block and leave this alone. You can't do both.
So, Edie, when you hear about Tupac being shot this last time and passing away, and I don't even like talking about it because it's just such a dark time in hip hop, but very important as well. Where were you when you hear that news? That what happened in Vegas, and where were you at? As far as, like, when you hear about it, who tells you, like, what happened?
I was pulling back up to the hospital in Vegas. I had just took Kadada to the airport.
You had just taken Kadada, Quincy Jones's daughter.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I just took her to the airport. She was going back to L.A. because he had started to make progress. And we kind of felt like he was going to be all right. He was trying to... he fought a lot when he was in that coma. He fought to come out of the coma. And, for his own health, his own safety, the doctors kept him sedated. You know what I mean? Because he was trying to come up out of it, like get up and walk about the hospital type shit. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? He would have the whole bed shaking some days. So, we felt like it was going to be all good. We felt like,
he was going to pull through.
Yeah, it'd probably take a little bit, but he was going to pull through. And then when we pulled back up, that's when I got the news.
When you pulled back up to the hospital?
Yeah.
What was your thought after all that? Were you, obviously you were sad, but were you angry as far as like, we need to get to the bottom of this? Did you want to leave the music game alone? Like, what was your mindset after the fact, after that he's gone? Now, did you have an idea like what you felt like your next move was going to be?
Nah, I was numb. I was basically in a state of shock. Walking around, I'm breathing, I'm thinking, I'm, all of that, but I'm not really here. You know what I mean? That's how heavy a blow it was and so shocking. You know what I mean? For all of us, for the Outlaws and more importantly, Gaddafi and Castro, like Pac was our big brother. He was our advocate. He was our hero. So it was like, what other purpose do we have here?
Right.
On this planet now. You know what I mean? And it took a while. It took a lot of soul searching to really even want to not even rap.
Right. That's right.
Live,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So when did you start to get the bug again? Like, I got to get back. I want to do this music thing. Like when did you get that back? And what
it didn't take long.
And then so then you were like, was there a conversation with the Outlaws, like as a group, like, we got to keep doing this for Pac or whatever the case may be, and then you collectively just go and start putting out music again?
I mean, we was so much in a routine of recording and going to the studio and creating. We was back in the studio the next day, recording music, and a lot of our hardcore fans, they've heard those songs that we recorded, you know, the day after Pac died, and it eventually came out on a project called Retribution that Death Row didn't put out, but we was able to attain the right style masters and the masters, and we put it out. And you can go get that on our website if you never heard those songs. But we went right back in the studio and just kept recording, because that was our way to purge. That was our way to, you know, deal with it and release. You know what I mean? And Suge and Death Row was kind enough to let us just keep recording. You know what I mean? Because they could have been like, yo, y'all niggas go home.
Right. There's no Pac, shut it down.
Pac is not here, so you know.
So you would say after that happened, your relationship with Suge was cool?
I mean, we always had a cool working relationship with Suge.
Okay.
Like, Pac and Suge was friends, but and we weren't friends with Suge.
Mm-hmm.
That was my big homie's homie.
Right.
But we always had a cool working relationship with Suge when he was able to be, you know, out and about and run his company. The problem happened when he wasn't there to run his company the way he wanted it to be ran. And we wasn't just gonna sit around, you know what I'm saying, and wait.
Right.
You know what I mean? We wasn't able to eat. We wasn't able to do features. We wasn't able to do shows. So we was like, yo, we got to go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that was hard to get your release off of Death Row, so you could then go do other things.
It wasn't as hard for some others. You know what I mean? For us, I know it was difficult for some other people, but it wasn't that hard for us.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So what did you do next? So you get off of Death Row. You then go start shopping a situation where labels coming at you. Was it really easy to go into another situation?
I mean, before we got released from Death Row, we were getting offers from a lot of different labels. You know, Interscope was like, we're gonna do it, y'all just gotta wait. And so we was like, wait. We was,
you were like, wait for what? Like,
if y'all gonna do it. They was like, just wait, we gonna do it. And at the time, we didn't understand. I understand now,
right?
Because of how the business works. We learned how the business works over those 20 years. Like, prior to that, we were basically babies in the game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With a dude that was pretty young himself, mm-hmm. as the head of the crew. So we learned over these past 20 years. So hindsight is always 20/20. But you know, we had Interscope hollering at us, and then once we got released from Death Row, it was pretty much a lot of different labels hollering at us, mm-hmm. at the time. Most notably, of course, Cash Money, Rap-A-Lot, Universal. They all hollered.
Right. And you guys finally made the decision to go where? To sign where?
What we did was we didn't sign with anybody.
Okay.
We went down to Rap-A-Lot for a little while. We did some music. Shout out to little J. James Prince. He was kind enough to just say, you know what? Come down here and record. You know, get away from it. Get away from it all. You know, I know y'all just lost your homie, and paid us for that.
Wow.
And we stayed down in Houston, Texas for like that whole summer. Once we got off of Death Row, and we was about to do a deal for Death Row. I mean, with James Prince and Rap-A-Lot, but Interscope called and was like, okay, we want to do the Tupac and the Outlaws album now. Mm-hmm. And you know, they had a nice hefty check to get that done, and we was gonna get a nice piece of the pie for that record. Mm-hmm. So, and that record was real special to us because those were all the last songs that we recorded with Pac. Mm-hmm. So we was like, let's go home, let's go back to LA, let's put this project together and let's put that out. That came out, eventually did very well for us, double platinum. And then at that point, we like, oh, okay, now, you know, what are we gonna do now? We going back to Rap-A-Lot, we going to Cash Money. And I had a conversation with somebody from the Bay Area. I had a conversation with a couple of cats from the Bay Area, the birthplace of the independent rap game. And they both was like, yo, with y'all name, y'all can go independent, y'all be millionaires.
Right.
And we didn't know nothing about the independent rap game, but I did know about E40 and Too Short and all these dudes, and I was around them, and I knew that they was eating better than the rappers that I knew that had
was signed to major deals.
So I would, you know, put two and two together. We ain't, you know, we just look like this. We ain't dumb. So we was like, fuck it, let's try it out. You know what I'm saying? And if it don't work, then we can, you know, start hollering at some other people. And we put an independent album out, and it only sold like 160, 175,000 copies, but our first check was for $700,000.
More than you would have ever seen on a major label.
Absolutely. So from there, it was just like, it wasn't even a second guess.
Like, this
we
what we're
were
doing.
entertained offers, but it was like, we kind of already knew, like, the independent game, it's just too sweet.
Right.
Especially when you got a brand.
Right. So how many albums do you put out then after that point as the Outlaws independently? How many do you guys do?
I think we did about 3 or 4 of them. I think in total we have 6 independent albums that we put out.
So now we're talking about 2015. You have a new project out. This is your first solo project?
It's my first solo album. I put a mixtape out
Right.
a couple of years ago, hosted by Mike Epps, called OG Established 1992. That did real well for me, and it kind of introduced me as a solo artist, because most people was used to hearing me do 8 bars here, 16 bars there, maybe a hook here and there, but they never really knew me as a complete artist.
Right.
And you know how serious I am about it. So that was my first release. Dropped that a couple of years ago, and now this is the first official album.
The first official album. How many songs on this joint?
14 songs. I got features on there for people like Corrupt, Freddie Gibbs, Crazy Bone, a few more people, Razkaz, Planet Asia.
Oh, okay. How long did it take you to put this project together?
Doc, you know what? I just recorded periodically here and there over the past 2-3 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When we would do tours, when we'd be around the world, I'd get some studio time, maybe do a song here, maybe do a song there. But it wasn't like I was like, all right, okay, let's go in the studio and I got 30 days to finish this album. I was just recording, and for the first time in my career, it was recording without any pressure.
Right.
It was just
Right.
like, I'm
just I
doing
feel like doing
for
it
fun.
today.
Yeah,
Right.
If I feel
right.
like doing it, I'm doing it. If I don't feel like going to the studio, I'm not doing it. And it made the process a whole lot easier. You know what I mean? And another great aspect of it was my woman that supported me throughout, was like, yo, take your time. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you gotta rush this project, because she's seen how the pace that we was working. Like, for 20 years, we was trying to keep up with that pace
Right.
that we had in 95, 96, which was a ridiculous pace to record music, in my opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean? 20 years later, I would never want to rush record music the way we rushed it back then. But that was then, this is now. So
Right.
it changed the whole recording process and made it a whole lot more fun and a lot easier.
E.D.I.Mean. EDIDON's in the building. So here's what we're going to do. DJ Ron C, Smooth D.
Yep.
Let's play the single from Edie's new project. So Edie, what is the name of the project?
The name of the record is called What I Need You For. And I want to give you a little background on this record.
Yes.
I ran into an artist one night at a club, and he come running up to me. He's like, yo, man, I'm a big fan of your music. I always rock with what y'all was doing, and I'm an artist too. My name is Deladier, and I wrote the hook for Studio for Schoolboy Q. Even though I'm not getting my credit, I wrote that hook.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's a big record right there. It was, like, at that time, that record was on the radio every 5 minutes. So I was like, wow, that's what's up. We exchanged numbers. We talked about doing some music, and on Christmas Eve last year, he invited me to the studio, and this is the record we did. And at the time, he didn't have no project or nothing he was putting out, so he just gave it to me. Him and the producer by the name of Skinny Mass, that's from Japan, they just gave me the record and was like, you could do whatever you want.
Wow.
And so I decided to, throw it on my album.
So here it is. So Edie, introduce this joint, man. Ron C, you got that queued up?
Yep, I got it queued
Let's
up.
get into this, man. Brand new joint by my man Edie in the building.
Listen, if you got some dead weight in your life, you got some ladies, you got a broke dude on your couch always eating up your food. Fellas, you got a chick always in your pocket. Man, play this record for him and tell him, what do I need you for?
Oh, AM Caffeine Morning Show exclusive. Let it go, Ron C. E.D.I.Mean, because I'm old school with mine, dude.
That's
what I
up.
need you for. I like that joint, dude.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So my man on the hook, his name again?
Deladier.
Killed it.
He's a game changer.
So you're working on something with him as a solo artist as well.
His project is called 100 Days, 100 Nights. He's gonna bring you the perfect blend of hip hop, R&B, funk, pop. He's like I call him a hybrid.
Does everything.
He can do it all. His talent, he really hasn't even really tapped into how talented he is yet. Do me a favor, when you hear this interview, check out the record I'm about to put out called Wake Up, featuring Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh!
His range is all over the place.
Oh, when is that coming out?
We dropping that tonight.
Ooh. AM Caffeine Morning Show. Exclusive. You heard it here first. You heard it first.
Definitely. Y'all gonna be able to say Edie came to our show and talked about Delati.
I love that. So here's what we're gonna have to do, Edie. Before, like, I want to be the first. We gotta have him come up to the AM Caffeine Morning Show and rock with us, dude.
I would love to bring him back.
Oh, I love it. So the project is out. Where can they get your project now? Where's it at? It's on all. It's
anywhere online. Also on my websites. Hard copies will be available in the upcoming weeks via my website.
Give me your website info right now.
O-4-L.com and 04 the number 4L digital.com are both my websites. Again, O-4-L.com, and that's the number 4.
Folks don't know, and if you don't know, Edie also is a radio personality as well. Edie has his own radio show. Edie, let him know about that, because we ain't no haters over here, dog.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate that. The Real Talk Show airs every Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. via Z420.tv. It's a brand new outlet for me, and it's something new that I'm doing. I'm used to being on the other side of the mic, you know. But it's fun. It's a hobby for me right now, and I enjoy the most part. The thing I enjoy the most about it is interviewing and talking to other artists. Last week we had Freddie Gibbs on our show.
Nice.
He just dropped his brand new album, and it's just good to just chop it up with other artists and be able to just listen for a change instead of having to promote something.
Right. AM Caffeine Morning Show. Edie's in the building. So Edie, let's play another joint right now from your project. Introduce this new one. Let us know about this.
This record is called A Movement. It's basically like my street single I dropped in the summer this year. And videos online. Go on YouTube. Check out the video. Shot it all over while we was on tour.
And this is your directorial debut, right?
Well, What I Need You For is my directorial debut. The Movement was directed by a very talented dude by the name of Jay Synth out of Sacramento. He's done hundreds of videos for all kind of artists. And he did that video while we was on tour. He travels with us on tour. So we shot this video in Birmingham, UK. It's called A Movement. And it's basically about what's going on in the world right now, man. It's kind of like a movement going on. You can kind of feel it. You know, we in a different time right now, and it seems like it's moving real fast. So many different events. Every time you turn on the news,
something crazy going on.
And so this song is the soundtrack.
There it is.
For what's going on right now.
This the movement. It's my man EDI right here, AM Caffeine Morning Show.
If I make you move, then I did my job.
That's the movement. Edie, the name of the album again is?
It's The Hope Dealer Part 1.
Available everywhere. You guys go find it. You can go to Edie's website. One more time, Edie, so folks know where to get it.
O-4-L.com. That's the number 4, and O4L digital.com.
How can folks find you on social media? You're active on social media. You know, sometimes these old cats, man.
I know.
He calling you old.
No,
right
I'm
now.
just saying, but not old. But you know,
I took the shot. You know, what I mean? I took the shot. I got a vest on though.
I'm saying us OGs, because let me tell you what, my homie Kumo D. Yeah, go ahead and try to get him on Twitter. Sometimes these cats don't wanna, but it's so important. But I think it's the best way the easiest way for your fans to get right to you.
Absolutely, man. I'm reading Miles Davis' autobiography, and he said adapt or die a long time ago.
Right.
So yeah, I'm active on social media. I gotta be, man, and I'm not on everything. I don't got a Snapchat.
I don't either, though. I'm not doing that.
I'm ever get a Snapchat.
I'm not doing that.
But Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at the real EDIDON or EDIDON. You can find me everywhere. If you can't find me, Google me.
There it is.
Yo, you know what? Something I wanted to mention, you was speaking a little bit earlier about the recording process and how you were able to just break it down and record at your leisure. But when you think about like what you guys were doing back in the day, just spitting you guys set the precedent for pretty much what these cats are doing now. Like putting out like Wayne and all those guys who just took the Tupac Outlaws blueprint of just never sleeping and putting that music out.
But there's one mistake they making. When you record so much, you're not really living. You know, you got to take time off to live so you can have something to
write
say.
about.
That's why a lot of music today don't have no substance,
Right.
because cats is just doing it too much. And as an artist, I know you run out of things to say, because
Right.
the hardest part is to not repeat yourself. When you a true lyricist, you hate repeating yourself.
Right,
You know what I
true.
mean? That's why I give certain cats credit. You know what I mean? Even like you mentioned Drake earlier, I give Drake credit because he rarely repeats himself. You know what I mean? He always give you something else,
new. I can't
something
front.
new.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And great lyricists gonna give you something new. So some of these cats need to slow down, take a break.
But the biggest thing you just said is real lyricist.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I'll leave it at that.
shots
Absolutely.
fired. I already know. Don't get me started, Smooth, because I don't like none of these dudes. AM Caffeine Morning Show. Shout out to my man E.D.I. rocked with
It's
us.
my pleasure, y'all, man.
E.D.I.Mean.
Y'all got a great show here.
Thanks so much for giving us just, the background on some of that stuff that I know can be touchy when you're talking about death is there's no coming back from that. And then when you're talking about someone like a Tupac that was so instrumental to your career and to you as a person, I know sometimes it's hard to talk about that, man. So I appreciate you giving us some insight on where you were mentally and all that stuff at that point, man. That means a lot to me for you to give us that information, dude, for real.
No doubt. My publicist is gonna hear this interview and be pissed off.
Like, no, I wanted you to say that for the View.
Yeah, right. You were supposed to say that. You weren't supposed to get him that. Nah, it's all good though, man. R.I.P. to my brother Hussein Fatal too.
Yes,
who just
absolutely.
lost this summer. So I want to send a shout out to all his family and friends and fans. They still reeling from that loss.
R.I.P. man. Outlaws music will never die. We know Tupac's legacy will continue to live forever. You guys have given us music that can never be replaced or duplicated. So thank you for that.
I
Ron
appreciate
C.
it, Doc.
Yo.
It's only right, dude. We can't leave the show like when we have E.D.I. in the building.
Right.
Don't do it to him.
I can't, dude. I'm sorry. Bad boy, you know I love y'all. But I got E.D. Hey, don't stop. Whatever the puppy be saying. I got E in the building. It's only right. I'm not even going to say nothing. Ron C, you already know what to do. Oh! AM Caffeine Morning Show. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next week. In your mouth.
In your man.
First off, touch your chick and the click you claim. West side when we rock.